Welcome to Everyday Reviews, and today we are comparing two of the hottest EVs on the market.
How popular and how hot are these EVs? Well, so popular that we actually bought one. This is our very own Ioniq5. And we're gonna put it head to head against this, its more luxurious sibling, the Genesis GV60.
But before we start, here's a little reminder.
Remember, this stuff all takes a lot of time and even takes a lot of money, gas money, but in this case, electricity to charge these up. But yeah, all we ask from you for providing this free content is hit that like and subscribe button if you like the content. It really helps the channel out and it helps us make more content like this. So back to the review. Even though both vehicles are based on Hyundai's E-GMP EV platform, they couldn't be any more different.
I could not agree more with you. The Ioniq5 has a retro-futuristic design and it really has a fabulous look from any angle, especially in the shooting star matte finish. I really like the pixel style lights and the light up brown. It really stands out.
The GV60 has a style all its own. Instead of the more boxy shape, this is way more rounded. You have the signature stacked headlamps. I love how these look like jewels here. And even though EVs don't need a grille, I like a grille on a car. It really completes the face of the vehicle. And you do have some crest elements that you also find in other Genesis products. This is the Performance GV60, so it comes with 21-inch wheels. And we mentioned this is based on the same platform, however, they are different sizes. The wheelbase on this GV60 is 4 inches shorter than the Ioniq5, and the overall length is 5 inches shorter, so that's a pretty big difference. The height is also shorter, but the width is exactly the same.
Both vehicles have flush door handles, but they both only have touch sensors on the front doors only.
Both vehicles have the ability to lock and unlock when you approach the vehicle, but one thing that they do not do is they don't auto lock. If you, for instance, are driving the vehicle and you get out of the vehicle and walk away, it won't auto lock. Even though it will auto lock, if you just go up to the vehicle, it opens or unlocks and you don't go inside and you walk away, it will lock. So the capability is there. And I read in a forum that I believe in non-North American markets, this feature is available. So Hyundai, can you please allow this feature to be active on North American cars in the next update? Another new feature. In this pillar here, there is a camera. This is a facial recognition camera. This is the first that I've ever seen. And what it allows you to do is when you have it set up, you can just go up to it, just look at it. It's going to lock the door or unlock the door for you, and you can get in, and you don't even need a key fob, or even your phone to drive this vehicle once you have it all set up.
Our top trim Ioniq5 comes with 20-inch wheels and a power charge port door.
What I like about the charge port power door on both vehicles is that it flips up. So it kind of provides a little coverage for debris to enter in the charge port. Maybe you have some light snow or something like that, opposed to when we tested that Kia EV6, it opens sideways, so it's totally exposed. Now the business at the back end, it's completely different, just like the rest of the car.
Yeah, for Ioniq, of course, more pixel style lights in the back. A lot of lines and squares. It's still very boxy look in the back.
I personally, that's one of the things that I fell in love with when we got, the Ioniq. I love the look of the lights here. On the Genesis, you have the signature split light design. It mimics the front here, and it wraps around like the front, so it's a very rounded look.
Yeah, but there's one thing in common between these two. No real wipers.
Yeah, so in case you've been sleeping for the past year and this is your very first Ioniq5 review that you've seen in video, you might know that there was kind of an issue when we reviewed this before, and I'll leave a link for some of the other videos we did, because it's not that it's an issue that there's no rear wiper. There's lots of cars that don't have rear wipers. I own one myself, but it's the design of this vehicle. The wheelbase is so long, so the wheels are stretched right to the back, and it just creates a lot of spray, you know, when the road is wet. And so it's gonna be interesting how this compares to this. And don't worry, tomorrow we have rain in the forecast and we will do a full test on it, but I'm gonna predict that the GV60 might do a little bit better, mainly because the Ioniq 5 has a roof spoiler, where the GV60 has this deck or hatch spoiler here, and I think that it's probably gonna block a lot of spray, because it's quite big. It's gonna block a lot of spray here from getting on to that rear window.
We'll see.
Yeah, so anyways, let's open them up. We have power lifts. They both are equipped with the smart trunk feature. We just don't have it activated right now. And they do look fairly similar, right? Yeah. There is no spare tire on either one, but this one does have a little additional flap here. So it's kind of a split floor, and it's a little compartment. You have the owner's manual in there. I actually use it to put some groceries in there and lift this up.
Well, I got two little small compartments on the side as well.
Yeah, you just lift your whole floor up though.
Yeah, but for size-wise, Ioniq is about 2 inches higher and 3 inches longer.
Yeah, you know, so it is larger. And when I say 3 inches longer, that's with the seats all the way back. Remember, these seats for the rear seats of the Ioniq actually slide forward and back, so you can actually get even extra length here. Also, the opening of the GV60 is quite a bit smaller than the opening of the Ioniq 5, and the width for cargo area is also smaller on the GV60. So if you value space, the Ioniq 5 is the winner there. A couple other differences on these vehicles is mine does have LED lighting inside the cargo area.
And mine's mounted on this top of the tailgate. Also, one thing I'm missing here is the lock button, but I do have a handle that I can put down.
Yeah, I don't have a handle, but I do have a lock button and a close button, so I can hit that lock button and down it comes. All right, so let's see what's under the hood for storage-wise here.
Boy.
All right, how much room do you have?
Not much. I can fit my charger in here.
Pretty well the same thing for both vehicles. Not a lot of space. Here's a shot of my cell phone in there. Yeah, it's a little special area anyways. Wow, you slammed it?
Sorry.
What?
Was that a color slam?
This Ioniq 5 is the long-range preferred all-wheel drive with the ultimate package, which is the top of the line. If you're in the US, this would be classified as the limited. So the limited or the ultimate gets you these leatherette seats. They're heated, they're ventilated in the front. They're also heated in the rear. Plus, the driver gets a relaxation mode, and we've covered this before on a couple other Ioniq 5 videos, so make sure to click the link and make sure to subscribe, and you can see all that content where we go into depth with that relaxation mode.
Yeah, similar to the exterior, inside you see a lot of straight and flat lines. And one thing I really enjoy about this car is this middle part sliding console. Really versatile.
Yeah, it's really handy just for, you know, even swapping seats here or just getting some more room. Yeah, I actually slide it quite often. Also, the storage room here, really like the storage room. Lots of storage in this vehicle, large door pockets. You have this massive well here, and you do have wireless charging. And this does flip up for easy access. And you open this up and you have your official game board from McDonald's, Monopoly. Hey, I'm gonna win this one day. And yeah, so it's, yeah, like you said, it's very, very functional for sure. Up front, we get two 12.3-inch screens. And yeah, the system's fairly easy to use. I do wish that certain things didn't have to actually be operated through the menu, like the heated and ventilated seats. You actually have to go through the menu to do it. There are actual real buttons though on this system here. It's a combination of buttons and touch. But yeah, I'm a big fan of buttons.
Blind spot monitor, 360-degree camera, plus, really enjoy them all.
Even remote smart park assist, so you can park this outside of the car with the key fob. Bose audio system, standard Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Let's take a look in the back.
Okay, back seats Ioniq5. Whew, actually seats here. Look how dirty it is. Oh my goodness.
This is a real life review, okay?
Whoa.
I just cleaned it yesterday, but you know, kids have dirty shoes and they like to kick and stuff like this. And by the way, what do you think of these floor mats? I'm gonna do a review on these one day. These are new like wintertime floor mats I got for you. Anyways, we mentioned it before in previous reviews, lots of room back here, good headroom. It just feels so bright with this large panel roof.
Definitely, yeah. And then of course the rear seat slides forward and back, which is really convenient.
Yep.
Sunshades.
Sunshades.
Which I can put up.
We have heated rear seats, which you have. We have two USB Type A. By the way, all the USBs in this vehicle are Type A.
And then just for storage, back seats for storage, this one's actually netted. The other one's actually has hard shell on it.
All right, off to the GV60. I have a feeling it's going to be a little bit different than the inside of this one.
Let's go. Wow, this is more my style for sure. I really like those seats, much softer and holds you so much better.
This is a really big difference compared to the Ioniq for sure. Mainly the materials where, you know, we saw the Ioniq has that leatherette. These are quilted Napa leather seats. The driver's side gets 16-way adjustment, power adjustment, plus it has a massage feature for the driver as well. You know, that's pretty awesome, you know, for that. So yeah, a lot more comfortable. Plus, also, this also does have active bolsters if you want. So depending on what drive mode you're in, it's going to adjust the bolsters for you. And like the Ioniq5, these seats are heated, ventilated in the front, and heated in the rear.
Yeah, and those seats actually has easier access button for the heat and ventilation as well.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that. There's no menus to go into, and that's overall the interior of this I think is much more usable because you actually have tactile buttons.
The steering wheel, it feels so much softer. The leather here on the sides, it just feels more solid.
Yeah, Cynthia, she's always a fan of the thicker steering wheels. I don't like them too thick, but this one does feel good. It's the leather is so soft. It's heated, heated as well. You have the heat on. It's super, super smooth. And I always say the steering wheel is one of the most important things. This is what you touch the most. The first thing that when you got into here, that's what you touch, and it just feels so luxurious. I'd like to put this steering wheel in our Ioniq. Also on the steering wheel, you'll notice along with all the buttons, there's customizable buttons. There's a fingerprint pad, you know, and that you can use to actually scan stations and change your radio stations. It does not work for the regular infotainment system though, like just to scroll things, you know, kind of like Mercedes does. But, you know, for changing stations quickly, it's actually quite handy. And then we get to the screens. They're the same size, 2 times 12.3-inch screens. However, on the GV60, the screen's a little bit curved where ours is flat. And what I like about this one better is that it doesn't have that white bezel. I think it just suits way better. I'm not a big fan of our white bezel. In fact, I might actually get a black wrap to go over that, you know, so it'll have a little bit better look in my opinion.
Well, I have the girl have a little black touch up for you. So more contract color-wise too. The graphic is better on this one too. This one also equipped with a blind spot monitor and 360-degree camera.
Yeah, so you have to go to the performance to get that 360 or the surround view camera. By the way, there is a home button on here, which I wish that our Ioniq had a home button, but it does not. You can program a customizable button, but this actually has a home button with it. And just, you do have the actual scrolling wheel as well, so you can use the scrolling wheel or you can swipe as well. And it's just, it's a very similar system. They've just used a little bit different software, and I think it just looks nicer for sure. Now by that home button, there's also a fingerprint scanner. We mentioned on the outside with that facial recognition, well, that's going to get you in the car, but this is what's going to start the car. So you're going to put your finger on that, it's going to start up, and off you go. Storage-wise, not as much utility in the GV60 than our Ioniq. I have my Yeti bottle here, and it does fit in the front drink holders, but it will not fit in the side door really. You kind of have to jam it in, and it will fit in the Ioniq5 for sure. And this does not have the sliding console that we have in our top trim. And that's a really nice thing, having that sliding console. Instead of a glove compartment that flips out, this actually is a drawer that you can pull out and push in, so that's quite unique. And we open this up, we have some napkins in there, and not a lot of room in the center console storage here either.
And then the very fancy part of this console, it's a rotating crystal ball. I like the look of it. I'm not sure if the function, but how easy to use when you're actually changing gears.
Yeah, you get used to it though. I'm just wondering, like when the novelty will wear off. At this point, it's really cool. Like, when you start the car, turn it off, it rotates. And yeah, some of you are gonna say, man, something else to go wrong. Hey, have some fun. It is quite neat. And it's very unique, It's the first time I've ever seen a rotating crystal ball for a gear selector.
Overall, really, really like this interior, the look of it, the feel of it. And then this handlebar on the side looks almost like
it looks like
a microphone.
No, microphone, or I think it looks like your Dyson hair dryer, right? So, you know what's actually quite unique about it? So on that side, that's where you adjust your mirrors. On this side, they just mimicked it. It looks like a speaker. I thought it was a speaker, but it's not. Look at this. If I turn this, it comes off. It comes off, and apparently,
inside.
Well, no, you can put a fragrance pack in here.
Oh, I see.
Yuck, gross.
Lovely.
But anyways, for air freshener, you can do that. Then we get to the panel roof. It has a clamshell sunshade, just like ours, except this roof is 10 inches shorter than our Ioniq. So yeah, that's quite a bit. That's a big difference.
Also, both vehicles have the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Neither of them are wireless.
Yeah, but guess what? Actually, I'm waiting for the courier this week. I have ordered something that's going to take care of that, and look for a future review. It's an adapter that will turn your wired CarPlay or Android Auto into a wireless system. So yeah, that's going to be, that'll take care of that. One thing that this does have though, this has the Bang & Olufsen upgraded 17 speaker system, and this sounds so much better than the Bose in the Ioniq 5. No soft closed doors. What's up with that?
Never stop complaining. Once again, I love the seats in the GV60. They're very soft and noticeably less legroom and headroom.
Yeah, remember, the Ioniq 5 has a longer wheelbase, so you're going to benefit, on the inside of that. However, it is very, very nice. If I want more legroom on the passenger side, though, I do have front seat controls that are accessible from the passenger or the driver. So if you want to use this for a car service, you can do that yourself. Not a lot of room for your feet, though, underneath. It's actually quite low. But yeah, it is very nice. I love this Alcantara roof. You do have a coat hook, manual sunshade, heated seats, which you have your heated seats on right now.
Yeah. Happy to see USB-C charger, 2 of them at the back, and then underneath is quite a large netted storage room for the back seats, and also has those gentle lights. Really adds on that premium look.
These seats do not slide.
We're sliding nowhere in this one.
So, but they do recline. This is as far back as they go, and yeah. Overall, I think it's definitely a way more premium experience. So I'm going to chalk it up for interior win, GV60.
Yes.
Hi, Cynthia.
Hi. So our long-range all-wheel drive has a combined horsepower 320 and a 446 pound-feet of torque. I love the instant torque from an EV. Just so responsive. Like most people probably say, once you experienced it, it's so hard to go back to a gas car.
Oh yeah, well, just like this. You find a space, you just hit your accelerator and you just scoot over. So on the GV60 side, there are two models. There is the Advanced and there is the Performance that we are driving right now. Now, the Advanced has the same powertrain essentially as the Ioniq5, the long-range preferred all-wheel drive that we have right now. And so that has a 160 kilowatt motor in the rear and a 74 kilowatt motor in the front. When you get into the Performance that we're in, you get two 160 kilowatt motors, so front and back, equal amount of power, and that gives you a total of 435 horsepower and up to 514 pound-feet of torque. But there's also more. See, on our steering wheel, we have a magic boost button, this green button here. Now, when you press this boost button, you get about 10 seconds of extra boost, basically 54 more horsepower, giving you almost 500 horsepower. And I'm telling you, I've driven like the Turbo S Taycan even. This gives you that same crazy acceleration feeling. You get amazing traction with the all-wheel drive system. And it's been rumored, even though it is wet out right now, if you turn the traction control off, you can actually just light them up and actually even kind of drift this thing. So this is not just a luxury EV, this is a real performance machine.
I definitely noticed the actual power right away when I drove that GV60. And even without that boost button.
Yeah, the boost button is just some crazy. It almost feels like a video game, where you just, you hit that crazy turbo button and off you go. Well, it's kind of like that. And where it's really handy is you don't have to be racing or anything, but if you go through the drive modes here, let's just say, because we have a drive mode button, we have sport mode, everything turns red. We have eco mode. So let's just say you're just cruising around in eco or comfort mode, and now you just want some extra passing power. You just hit that boost button, and it's a whole different car by hitting that boost button. And this vehicle also has generated sounds as well.
The range from the 77.4 kilowatts hour battery is rated at 414 kilometers. We found out that it's pretty accurate, actually, the range, sometimes even more. But winter's coming, so let's see.
Yeah, so on the GV60, the range is down a little bit, even though it has the same size battery. So for the Advanced, you're gonna get 399 kilometers, and for the Performance, it's down about 20, so about 378. But you know what? I'd happily trade off like 20 or so kilometers for an extra 170 horsepower. It's definitely worth the trade-off.
Overall, we really enjoy our Ioniq5, but after driving the GV60, I'm surprised how different they really are. Not just the power, but the overall ride. Yeah,
well, there's a couple of reasons for that. First of all, just for the engagement, this GV60 Performance comes with an electronic limited slip differential as well. You get an electronic suspension, so adaptive suspension with road preview. So, in behind here, Cynthia, there is a camera and it's previewing the road in front of us, and it's adapting the suspension depending on the conditions. And that's why it's so good. And you match that with these active bolsters that change and everything else. It's a little bit quieter in here than the Ioniq 5, probably more sound deadening. And even if you are doing sharp turns on here, the steering stops are nice and soft. You know, there's no clunk when you hit the end of the steering. It's a very nice experience for sure. A couple of other things I've noticed on the GV60 that I prefer is, well, both vehicles have great regen settings. So you can go anywhere from completely coasting to one pedal driving with the I-pedal, and there's even an automatic regen setting. Now, what I like about that is I normally like the auto setting, so if there's a car in front of us, like right now, it's going to just automatically adjust the regen for me. But on the Ioniq 5, whenever you turn the vehicle off and you turn it on, the default is level 1 for the regen. On the GV60, the default is whatever you left it in on the last drive. So if you always want automatic regen like I do, guess what? Every time I pop in here, it's going to come back on, and I really like that. And another thing, the electronic parking brake. This one engages by itself. When I put it into park, it automatically engages that parking brake, and that's really nice because we actually live on a hill on our driveway. And on the Ioniq 5, you actually have to manually put it on. Sometimes you might forget. It puts a lot of pressure on that transmission selector there. And yeah, both those things, the regen default and the automatic engagement of the parking brake, I think could be handled in just a software update. So I'm really surprised that the Ioniq does not have those. And along with the automatic door lock that I requested earlier, maybe those three things could be applied on the next software update, Hyundai, if you're listening.
Okay, we said we're gonna check into it. So let's see, now it's raining and we're driving. How do these two compare without the rear wipers?
Well, I think I was kind of right in my prediction. I think the GV60 fares a little bit better than the Ioniq 5, probably due to that big spoiler in the back. The visibility, it's still not great in here because you have a split window, but you know, there's not a lot of spray. There are some large droplets of water, that's no problem, but there is no fine spray that we do get on the Ioniq 5.
Yeah, like you said, I can see actually you're in front of me, and then I can see there are only big drops of rains, and then back of my rear window, I can see little mist around it.
The new Ioniq 5s coming out are supposed to have an electronic rear view mirror, so it'll be interesting to see how much that helps, because, you know, where are they going to put that camera? Is it going to get covered in mist as well? Who knows? I still think the Ioniq 5 is still one of the best deals out there, regardless if it's an EV or not. Come on, Cynthia, see if you can catch me. Woohoo! This thing is really, really engaging to drive, regardless of boost mode or not, just in regular comfort mode. Wondering, what were they gonna do with the GV60, you know, since it's based on the Ioniq 5 platform? Like, so how do you make an already very good car, which is the Ioniq 5, you know, world car of the year, how do you make it even that much better and kick it up? And you know what, Genesis did it. They really did it. Sure, it doesn't have the soft closed doors, but the performance, the experience, the luxury that you get, everything you touch, feel, hear, it really gets all your senses going, and they really have elevated the Ioniq 5 experience. But when you elevate something, usually something else happens, the price is more expensive. Okay, Cynthia, what do you think, honestly now?
Honestly?
Yes.
I do prefer Genesis GV60 because of the ride, because of the drive, because of the feel. But I understand, you know, you do need a little deeper pocket for that. So I'm very happy with, you know, the space it provides from our Ioniq 5. I'm very happy with what we have.
You know, I kind of agree with you on those points. By the way, I gotta say, there's a little story here, but, you know, a little backstory. I would say, if you asked Cynthia 5 years ago if she would ever consider owning a Korean car, she would say absolutely not. And look at what we have 5 years later, we actually own a Korean car, but she has become the biggest Genesis fan out there. But one thing you do have to realize, you know, Cynthia mentioned the deeper pockets. This particular GV60 is almost $20,000 more for the performance version over the top of the line Ioniq5. So that's 20 grand more. Plus, depending on where you live, the Ioniq5 still qualifies for some government incentives. Like in Canada, you get $5,000 off, which you don't get anything off on the GV60, but it is a luxury brand. If you can afford that, you probably don't need the $5,000 aid for sure. But yeah, this thing it's a luxury rocket. I'm kind of mixed with the styling, and yeah, I'd say if you have a family like us, the Ioniq5 is probably going to suit you better than the GV60 because of the room. If you're thinking about the GV60 in the base Advanced, because there's the Advanced and the Performance, then you know what, I would really buck up for the extra $9,000, you know, to get so much more content. You get more power, you get the bigger wheels, you get, you know, the 360 surround view camera, you know, you get all of that. If you like the styling and the size of the Ioniq5, but would like to have the performance of the GV60, wait till next year, because the Ioniq 5N will be coming, and that'll be a track ready car practically for an EV, and it's rumored to have over 500 horsepower. So yeah, that one's gonna be awesome. Can't wait to get our hands on that. Maybe we can trade this one in for one of those ones.
Thinking.
So that's it for our EV showdown. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, safe drive. See you next time.
Ciao.